Hello and welcome to the NTN Morning Update. We are live coming to you from NTN Channel 122 on air and online. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're watching on air, online, residents here in St. Lucia, St. Lucians in the diaspora, good morning to you. We in St. Lucia are coming off of the National Day weekend. We hope it was enjoyable, safe and restful and all that good stuff for you. Leading our developments for the morning, we have subtle reductions in restrictions taking effect today. We're going to tell you a bit more about that. Meantime, I want to let you know our background is not the usual in-studio background. We're coming to you from the Parliament building in downtown Castries. That's right, we have the House of Assembly sitting scheduled for today. I'm going to get into the details of what you can expect for today's proceedings in just a while. We are also going to bring you a COVID-19 update. The triple-digit active cases have been culled down to 34. We're also going to tell you the number of new cases that were registered over the weekend. Also, we had some tourism sectors in the region being undermined by the COVID-19 virus. We have word from our tourism officials here in St. Lucia reinforcing that COVID-19 protocols are critical to the continued success that we have so far been experiencing where our tourism sector is concerned so far in St. Lucia. So stay tuned for the details to those stories and more for our 24-hour news cycle. My name is Jessie Leons. Thank you so much for joining. Stay with us. We have a program leading up to the proceedings of Parliament today.
She's been watching, waiting, wondering when the sands of time will give way to a tide of change, and for yesterday and today to become a new tomorrow, for a time when her sun can kiss the cheeks of your loved one and her stars can twinkle in her honeymoon skies, when her earthly embrace will reassure and calm your soul, and her unique view can change your whole perspective. Proudly, she has risen to meet new challenges and to provide safe harbor to all who reach her shores. For her hopes and dreams still stand, shoulder to shoulder, a precious reminder of experiences yet to come. So, wherever your moments and memories take you, let her sense of adventure set you free. She is St. Lucia. Let her inspire you.
Thank you so much for staying with us. This is the morning update live on NTN. If you're just joining, good morning to you. We are coming to you live from a Parliament building in downtown Castries. That is because a sitting of the House of Assembly is scheduled for today. And just to get into the schedule for the proceedings, we have prayers, announcements by the Speaker of the House, and statements by ministers and papers to be laid. We have papers to be laid by the Honorable Prime Minister and Minister for Finance, Economic Growth, Job Creation, External Affairs and the Public Service. Also, papers to be laid by the Honorable Minister for Economic Development, Housing, Urban Renewal, Transport and Civil Aviation, the Honorable Minister for Tourism, Information Broadcasting, Culture and the Creative Industries, and also reports from committee by the Honorable Minister for Infrastructure, Ports, Energy and Labour. Motions to be forwarded in the Honourable House, one by the Prime Minister and Minister for Finance. Be it resolved that Parliament, by affirmative resolution, approves the draft value-added tax amendment of Schedule 3, Number 2 order, which amends Schedule 3 of the Act to exempt imports by an elected parliamentarian for the benefit of children, the vulnerable and needy persons in the constituency of the elected parliamentarian, of toys, food supplies, care packages, including items for personal use such as food, personal hygiene products, and other personal protective supplies, gift items, including personal presents to be given as part of the Christmas holiday season, Christmas decorations, including Christmas lights, ornaments, and accessories used for decorative purposes during the Christmas holiday season. I'm certain that the representatives will be pleased with this motion. Also, be it resolved that Parliament authorizes the Minister of Finance to borrow from commercial banks sums not exceeding $85 million as follows. Royal Bank of Trinidad and Tobago, 4,400,000 EC. Royal Bank of Canada, 5,600,000 EC. First Caribbean International Bank, 8 million EC dollars. Republic Bank EC Limited, 12 million EC dollars. First National Bank of St. Lucia, 5 million EC dollars, and Bank of St. Lucia, 50 million EC dollars. Also, bills to be brought forward to the House by the Honorable Prime Minister and Minister for Finance, Economic Growth, Job Creation, and External Affairs and the Public Service, the Credit Reporting Bill, which is in debate, and the Economic Substance Amendment Bill. This will be the first reading in the Honorable House. So we stand by, and in the meantime, we're bringing you the latest stories for the 24-hour news cycle. We have tourism officials in St. Lucia reinforcing that the COVID-19 protocols are critical to continued success, and we've so far seen recent undermining of tourism sectors in the region as they try to recuperate and try to jumpstart again following the effects earlier on this year due to the pandemic. And just to reference a press statement coming from the St. Lucia Tourism Authority, we have, as St. Lucia gears up for a peak winter season with increased flights and arrivals to the destination, the industry remains committed to ensuring that visitors and returning nationals are subject to strictly enforced guidelines throughout their visit. With the festive season quickly approaching and with recent events throughout the region, this is a stark reminder that we should continue to coexist with a global pandemic and must therefore be even more vigilant about maintaining the protocols set out by health authorities. Strict adherence to the guidelines has not only helped to mitigate the spread and importation of COVID-19 into St. Lucia, but it has helped tremendously in reigniting the tourism industry with over 77,000 employees and ancillary service providers back on the job. Our strict protocols here in St. Lucia continue to provide confidence and evidence that support the existence of safe travel with a managed travel bubble and for international tourism. And since reopening the borders to international travel 6 months ago on island, the destination has welcomed over 25,000 visitors. At present, there is no evidence within the industry of St. Lucia of spread from visitor to hospitality staff. I repeat, there is no evidence within the industry of St. Lucia, the tourism industry in St. Lucia, of spread from visitor to hospitality staff. Notwithstanding, a few visitors have tested positive for COVID-19, and the individuals were quickly and safely quarantined according to protocols. With the gradual return of visitors, the government of St. Lucia continues to conduct frequent audits to strengthen and enhance safety protocols, which includes a warden program that will soon begin operation for even more enforcement. New activities are also continuously being certified, and additional sectors are being assessed and reopened for tourism. In doing so, we continue to operate as if everyone that an individual encounters may be COVID-19, and therefore we remain alert on communicating the messaging of wearing of face masks, physical distancing, and sanitization. We have a statement from the Tourism Minister, Honorable Dominic Cady. He did indicate that as we stand together in this fight against COVID-19, all key sector agencies will continue to work in tandem in developing public and private sector initiatives while dedicating significant resources to the island's COVID-19 response. The tourism industry, he indicated, is committed to this cause, and we acknowledge the hospitality sector's adherence to these procedures. We have every confidence that St. Lucia will continue to offer the safest possible environment for visitors and nationals. We also have Carolyn Trebetsky, the president of the St. Lucia Hospitality and Tourism Association, indicating that over the past few months, And in collaboration with the Ministries of Health and Tourism, the SLHTA has facilitated many online health and safety training workshops for our hospitality workers. Our hotels, restaurants, attractions, and other accommodation tourism service providers respect and understand the importance of a strict adherence to protocols throughout their daily operations. And end of quote. Travelers from international jurisdictions must ensure the following here in St. Lucia. Just want to remind you, check with the airlines for flight schedules. Visitors must ensure that they are booked into a COVID-19 certified property. They must have filled out the travel registration form on the website stlucia.org/COVID-19 no less than 7 days prior to traveling to allow for verification of all documents and processing of travel authorization in a timely manner. They must obtain a PCR negative COVID-19 test within a maximum of 7 days of travel into St. Lucia and submit their result to sarscov2ell@gmail.com. That's SARSCOV2, the number 2, ELL@gmail.com. They must print and travel with a copy of the auto-response email from the travel registration submission. Print and travel with a copy of the travel authorization letter that you will receive before you travel, and you must download and print and travel with a completed copy of the health screening form. In addition to the above, returning nationals are reminded to secure accommodation at a state-owned quarantine facility and upload proof of payment when completing their travel registration. They must also, after advancing to Immigration and Customs, be guided to the designated transport for transfer to the public health facility or home quarantine. Personal transfers are not permitted to home quarantine, and therefore a certified taxi from the airport must be utilized. At the public health facility, individuals are screened twice daily, allowed to receive items from friends and family. However, they are unable to accept anything from the individuals until the full quarantine period has come to an end. When on island, the protocols of face masks and physical distancing are applicable to everyone. More information, if you want some more information on the COVID-19 response protocols and forms for travel, you can go on to, again, stlucia.org/COVID-19. And so there you have it, quite an extensive and rigorous process for even visiting St. Lucia, and that is just a reminder, just a reinforcement of the efforts of the officials at getting persons to understand what the COVID-19 protocols are as it pertains to travel, immigration overall, and they're indicating that it is critical to the continued success of our recuperation tourism-wise, and that is in light of tourism sectors in the region being undermined at this time due to the COVID-19 virus transmissions. Continuing with news this morning, as we have this reassurance and reiteration from the tourism officials, subtle reductions in restrictions take effect today here in St. Lucia, and we did get word from the authorities following a NEMAC meeting of these subtle reductions, and it's all about the special permissions granted for the Christmas season and also restrictions as well. I just want to go over some of them for you, just to remind you. We have special permissions for Christmas, dine-in permissions at food establishments and bars in adherence to strict protocols, amendments to mass crowd events and social gatherings, and extended business operating hours from the previously established 9 p.m. closing time. So these things take effect as of today, the 15th of December. And just to give you some back information, this is being guided by the evidence that we are receiving from the epidemiological unit of the Ministry of Health and Wellness, indicating that they've noticed a decrease in cases, assessing trends for the period October to the first week in December. However, the Chief Medical Officer is stressing that we not relax and just rest on our laurels, but measures must be taken to maintain the gains that they have made and to move into, as we move into the rest of December and into January 2021. So first, the amendments made to business operating hours, business operations, and commercial activities must end by 11 p.m. Now, this is a 2-hour push from the previously held 9 p.m. closing time. So we've moved from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. closing time for cessation of all business activity and commercial operations in St. Lucia. And this requires businesses, including supermarkets and restaurants, to completely shut their doors and dismiss staff by 11 p.m. in order to curb movement on island past midnight. Separate provisions apply for necessary sectors, including the essential services, obviously. Restaurants and bars are also now allowed to operate up to 11 p.m. The dine-in experience is now allowed for restaurants in adherence to strict protocols. The same for bars. So effective today, bars will be allowed to accommodate persons to sit in adherence to strict protocols, but we all know the ideal is the grab-and-go policy. However, it is not being enforced. A no-tolerance policy will be in full effect where this is concerned. We did hear from the Assistant Commissioner of Police, Wilton Daisy, indicating that with these special permissions and still taking into consideration the restrictions that continue to apply, there will be a zero-tolerance policy. The sale of alcohol is permitted at supermarkets, mini-marts, and gas stations. Overall, we know, as I indicated earlier, takeaway and grab-and-go remains the ideal. The special permissions for Christmas, we have parties and other festive observances are discouraged. So we're talking about corporate staff parties, both in the public and private sector, are strongly discouraged by the chair of the COVID-19 Command Center. Private sector and public service, they are encouraged to institute shopping days in order to reduce long lines and the Christmas shopping rush in Castries, especially, and Vieux-Fort. Slaughterhouses and butchers to remain open according to strict protocols. Banks, credit unions, and other services to increase working hours and teller numbers where possible to reduce excessive lines and ensure protocol adoption. No parties of any kind are happening on the national scale. I'm talking Christmas, New Year's Eve, Asso Square, National Day, Jouvez. All of these things have been cancelled considering the threat of COVID-19. The amendment to mass crowd events and social gatherings are restricted to 25 people. So you can hold a family gathering for the Christmas season. There has been some accommodation for that. No allowances given for mass gatherings and social events of any kind. Outside of that, including no loud permits will be given loud music permits will be given for this 4-week period to go on from December 15th to January the 11th. Where churches are concerned, religious institutions may carry out services according to the square footage of their church. This is guided by each institution's guidelines and protocols approved. We have churches, the special religious rites, including christenings, weddings, and funerals, will be limited to 50 individuals. So the rites are limited to 50 individuals, and that is inclusive of observers and service leaders. But churches must also strictly enforce exit plans from the church compound. So while we have the religious rites being limited to 50 individuals, that is the christenings, the weddings, the funeral services, the parties, the receptions, the wakes, the blockos are not allowed. All contact sports are allowed, however, gyms as well. You can, of course, that will be in strict adherence to the COVID-19 protocols when you do go to the gym. The continuing to work from home policy, as advised right up to the Prime Minister, that policy being advised, the blended service operations approach where possible for employees is being encouraged for the private sector. Also, the previous protocols on education, we know that school is out for now, but the continued remote learning where it applies and special permissions for exam year students will be upheld. So this is the word from following the NEMAC meeting. That was in the update to the nation held last week. We encourage you to go onto the official sites. Go onto govt.lc for the latest information. And if you missed something or you need some more clarification based on what I just read out in terms of the protocols that take effect today, you can go onto those websites. You could go onto the various Facebook platforms, Office of the Prime Minister platform. You could go onto the Government of St. Lucia Facebook, YouTube as well, and get the latest information where that is concerned. We continue with this morning with news on the December festivals. The COVID-19 has created a new normal for all aspects of our lives, including how we celebrate occasions As you saw, the protocols say it all, really. National events and traditions are not as they used to, with mass crowd events being prohibited as per COVID-19 protocols. The Cultural Development Foundation has had to reconceptualize the December festivals. The festivals traditionally ushered in the Christmas season each year on December 12th and created the celebratory mood from National Day, December 13th onward. And this year, the CDF is using the concept Christmas St. Lucian style and the theme Hope, Joy, and Merriment to organize and produce a video showcase that is scheduled to air on Christmas Eve. We have Ramona Henry Wynn, the Executive Director of the Cultural Development Foundation, speaking on this activity.
The whole seminal ban, creating that kind of hype, from a community perspective. We will have traditional cooking of traditional foods. You would have the whole theme of Christmas storytelling that is synonymous with Christmas. You have bamboo bursting. A lot of the things that are normally done around Christmas will be brought out. The whole Christmas Eve Juve that has become synonymous with the community of Choiseul. We will bring you clips of all of those activities, the jab ritual, the masquerade, the steel pan, fireworks, all of those things will come into play.
And while the holiday season may look very different in 2020, St. Lucia is keeping its Christmas traditions alive on social media with a 12-day celebration of its distinct and signature customs. The St. Lucia Tourism Authority has collaborated with the Folk Research Center and also the CDF for 12 days of Christmas. Again, the concept Christmas St. Lucian style. Darren Georges is the Public Relations Manager at the SLTA.
So over the 12-day period from the 14th to the 25th of December, via Travel St. Lucia, Facebook and Instagram, what we are going to do is to bring to you all the traditions such as the masquerade, the Christmas folk chant, solo dancing, the popular bamboo bursting, house to house, serenal, baking of the St. Lucian black cake, the Christmas decorating, festival of lights, festival of carols, Christmas Creole, and the Asu Square. All of these will be done virtually. In keeping with the protocols outlined by the health authorities. Of course, we know that the mixing and the mingling right now is pretty much not what is being observed in light of health. However, we know that the Christmas spirit often brings hearts and homes together. And so in keeping with the traditions and in ensuring that our St. Lucians, both here and in the diaspora, as well as our visitors, can get to really experience an authentic St. Lucian Christmas, we have decided to have this virtual traditional celebration that would keep everybody tuned in.
Darren Georges there, PR Manager at the Tourism Authority. You can experience and enjoy the 12 days of Christmas St. Lucian style from December 14th to the 25th, 2020 by checking at Travel St. Lucia posts on Facebook and Instagram. Now, also the Festival of Lights and Renewal has had to be put off due to the national protocols, and this event would have constituted the parade of lanterns in the streets of Castries, accompanied by the Christmas show and the illumination of the lights in the Derek Walcott Square in central Castries. We did get the indication, the confirmation from Mrs. Henry Wynn, the CDF Executive Director, that while this cultural event will not be held this year, the Castries Constituencies Council has committed to lighting up the city for December 12th. For those of you who've had the opportunity to see it, we hope it was marvelous. Hopefully we all get the opportunity to see at least that for the season. Moving on, we did speak on it a little bit on Friday, the investiture ceremony for our newest ambassador here in St. Lucia. St. Lucian cricketing hero Darren Sammy has formally accepted his role as a Goodwill Ambassador for St. Lucia. The title was conferred upon him during a ceremony at Government House, and I had the pleasure to witness this very important and momentous event. Do take a look at what transpired.
Darren Sammy is a good man. That's why we're making him a Goodwill Ambassador.
A title is now conferred upon him, His Excellency Darren Julius Garvey Sammy. An investiture ceremony was held on Thursday, 10th December 2020 to formalize the appointment by awarding him the St. Lucia Medal of Merit of Gold by Governor General His Excellency Neville Snack. Goodwill ambassadors are citizens of St. Lucia who have achieved international acclaim. They are expected to represent St. Lucia locally, regionally, and internationally by leveraging their profile and celebrity status to tap into access for growth and forge strategic partnership between the Cultural Development Foundation and other related agencies. Minister with responsibility for culture and the creative industries, Senator Honorable Fortuna Belrose, thanked the cricket icon for responding favorably to the government's invitation.
We are happy that you have accepted this honor, Darren, and you have earned it. I've had to reassure him several times that there's no pressure in being an ambassador. It's natural to him. You know, we stayed on the phone about 2 hours. I recall one night he called me from Trinidad, you were? From Trinidad, trying to say to me, but this sounds like hard work, you know? And so I said, no, the ambassadorial title is restored because you have achieved global acclaim and met the gold standards with the values that we would want every citizen of this illusion, of this country, understand, to embrace.
His Excellency Darren Sammy made history to become the first international cricketer from St. Lucia. He solidified his legacy in international cricket as a two-time T20 World Cup winning captain, the only cricketer to achieve this feat. He is the only active cricketer to have a national stadium in his name and was awarded the Order of the British Empire, OBE, by Queen Elizabeth II.
I vouch to or pledge to you guys that I will continue to serve St. Lucia and represent St. Lucia in a way that, you know, is fitting for a Goodwill ambassador.
As a Goodwill ambassador, His Excellency Darren Sammy has been issued an official diplomatic passport as awarded by Cabinet and a decorated red laissez-passer signed by the Governor General. For the Government Information Service, I am Jessie Leonce reporting. Congratulations are in order for His Excellency Darren Sammy. We continue with updates this morning on Sir Arthur Lewis Community College to create new gateways with support from the SLDB. The Sir Arthur Lewis Community College SALCC has launched a new program that focuses on experiential learning, taking students beyond the theoretical to the practical realm. The Global Gateways program creates an environment where students can become entrepreneurs. Brent St. Catherine is the head of Global Gateways program at the Sir Arthur Lewis Community College.
Taking them from basically ideation to commercialization of whatever the prototype they come up with. So whilst at Sir Arthur Lewis Community College, they are going to become full-time entrepreneurs. And we think that is a very added value program because you won't find anything else like that in St. Lucia right now. And this is something that we need in the present job climate. So the program is very, very needed right now. In addition to that, we have other things like foreign exchange programs, and the students will be able to access what will be the first fully equipped innovation lab in the entire OECS. So I mean, all of these combined are a package that St. Lucia really needs at this present time.
SALCC is collaborating with the St. Lucia Development Bank, SLDB, in this venture. Managing Director of SLDB, Vincent Boland, explained that with changes in the world of work, there is need to create additional opportunities for students, and the bank will be playing its part.
The Development Bank has the credits available for persons to access if they need to be able to pursue further studies. The intention really is for us to be able to identify what areas within our economy that need additional capacity. And I think what the college is doing is excellent in that they have identified key areas where training is going to be needed for us going forward. The green economy is essential. We hear people talking about both the blue and the green economy. These areas are going to open up a number of job opportunities for persons.
Investor St. Lucia has endorsed this program, calling it timely. ISL's projects coordinator of the Virtual Business Incubator and Accelerator program, Dave Headley, said that Investor St. Lucia is committed to lending its support to the program and to the students.
Well, we recently launched a virtual business incubator and accelerator program with a key focus, of course, providing resources to all St. Lucians, especially for key focus on young people. So for sure, there are synergies there with the program that Fellows is launching. I think it was mentioned earlier, the focus on the entrepreneurship program and, of course, preparing young persons for the world of work. So right away, persons coming out of that program who may have great ideas or want to start up a business, there's an opportunity now to work with the Boost program, which is the virtual business incubator and accelerator program, not only to get business support services, but provide even further resources, networking opportunities, and even opportunities to pitch the ideas to angel investors.
The Global Gateways program will be available to all students of the Sir Arthur Lewis Community College. We are due for a break. Just want to remind you that we're coming to you live from the Parliament building in downtown Castries for the sitting of the House of Assembly scheduled today. When we come back from break, we will go over COVID-19, the updates. The triple-digit active cases have been culled down to 34. We'll also let you know on the new COVID-19 cases that were registered over the weekend. Do stay with us.
Wash your hands. Wash them before
eating or handling food or caring for infants, sick or elderly people.
Wash your hands. Wash them after.
Using the toilet, touching raw meat, handling pets and livestock, playing outdoors, cleaning or handling waste and garbage.
Wash your hands. Wash them often.
You are going right when you make a habit of washing your hands several times a day.
This message brought to you courtesy the Bureau of Health Education of the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Thank you so much for staying with us. The triple-digit active cases that we once came to have now been culled, thankfully, down to 34. We have only 34 active cases of COVID-19 here in St. Lucia to date, and we've registered 240 recoveries. Now, out of the 278 total number of cases that we've registered here in St. Lucia, the difference is individuals who've been diagnosed with COVID-19 here in St. Lucia and been repatriated to their country, or unfortunately they've succumbed. We registered 4 new cases of COVID-19 here on island over the weekend. There are 2 cases non-nationals recorded yesterday. These 2 cases are number 276 and number 277, a 22-year-old male and a 49-year-old female. And both of these cases were placed in quarantine pending receipt of their test results. They have since been placed in isolation. And the 3rd case is a St. Lucia national. Case number 278 is a 29-year-old female from the Gros Islet district. She was seen at a community respiratory clinic where she was assessed and tested for COVID-19. While awaiting receipt of the test results, she was placed in quarantine by a health practitioner. Currently, an epidemiological link has not yet been established for this case. The contact tracing team is undertaking investigations as we speak to determine the possible existence of any links for this case. As per protocol, arrangements have been made for the placement of this individual into isolation. And the 4th case registered over the weekend, case number 275. The individual is a 35-year-old female from the Castries district, and she was seen at a community respiratory clinic where she was assessed and tested for COVID-19. The individual was placed in quarantine by a health practitioner while awaiting the return of her test result. An epidemiological link has not been established for this case. Again, investigations are ongoing to determine the possible existence of an epidemiological link, and as per protocol, arrangements have been made for her isolation. So again, over the weekend, we did have recoveries being registered, coming to the total number that we so far have in St. Lucia of 240 recoveries out of the 278 total cases that we've had to date. And of course, the difference is those that are active right now, the individuals who've been repatriated, as well as unfortunately those who have succumbed to COVID-19. So that's the latest update coming from the Ministry of Health and Wellness with respect to our COVID-19 status. We continue to encourage you from the GIS to adhere to the protocols please play your part, as the effort right now, according to the CMO, is to maintain the gains that we have made. You would remember in October that we did see a spike in cases here on island, but so far these cases have been reduced, and as such we have been able to benefit from special Christmas permissions for this statistic, and we hope to maintain the gains that we have made by going into January, showing ourselves approved by washing our hands frequently, using hand sanitizer when we're not near a faucet, also using the mask, and also observing the 6-foot physical distance. Continuing with the news this morning, the Division of Human Services Elder Care Unit continues on its quest to better the lives of the elderly, its most vulnerable clientele, with the handing over of a home to a Dannery resident constructed by Triple L Construction. Our very own Herma DeMac has the details to this cheerful story.
A kind gesture and corporate social responsibility on the part of Triple L Construction has made 62-year-old Lawrence Paul the owner of a new living space. Paul suffered a stroke in 2019 which left him immobile. His condition makes it difficult for him to access his home located on the top of a hill in the Dannery community. After the stroke, Lawrence moved in with his sister to help better facilitate his treatment and care. The new dwelling was constructed in her backyard. Collins Lynch is the Chief Executive Officer of Triple L Construction.
I heard of Mr. Lawrence even before he had the stroke. My right-hand guy came to me, David, and said, hey, we must do a project for that gentleman living in the neighborhood. And we had a list together already, but David came back a few weeks later and said, hey, he had a stroke. So I said, David, we must act upon it. Together with Miss Alsey, Miss Alsey contacted me, and we spring into action. We came, we look at it, we set a date, and we accomplished it on Saturday in one day. We just mobilize everybody, get everything here, and we mobilize it in one day.
Lawrence was presented with the keys of his new living space on December 8th. He expressed immense appreciation for the gesture. Andrea Alcide, family case worker with responsibility for elder care from the Division of Human Services, extended her thanks to the employees of Triple L Construction for their continued support in the Dannery community.
On behalf of the government and people of St. Lucia, specifically the Ministry of Equity and the Division of Human Services, we would like to say thank you very much for this beautiful gesture for Mr. Lawrence Paul, for providing me with a comfortable, safe place to be since he has gotten immobile with the stroke that he recently had. We're very grateful that you continue to provide assistance to us, the community of Dannery, and by extension, the older persons of St. Lucia. We appreciate you and we thank you.
Paul's new home makes it possible for him to receive care and therapy from SSDF's Home and Care Department and makes him more accessible for visitation from friends and family. From the Government Information Service, Herma DeMarc reporting.
And finally, in our morning update, Caribcation, the brand laser focused on staycation and welcoming Caribbean visitors to St. Lucia, has introduced a more user-friendly component to its website that facilitates the ease of booking with accommodation properties and destination experiences. Marketing Manager for Caribbean and Events, Christopher Gustave, says that through the Caribcation platform, users can connect directly with the service provider.
Locals as well as bubble visitors can book your property via caribcation.org and will provide you with the following: the full names, the number of guests, the check-in date, the check-out date, the email, and the telephone information. The booking will be directed to your organization via an email from caribcation.org, and the SLTA really hopes you will reply to the customer as soon as possible. No more than 24 hours or one business day. The Caribcation program is open to all alternative accommodation providers registered with the ministry. It is important that our service providers are supported in this manner, and our overall aim is to ensure that they can generate as many bookings via this portal, thereby guaranteeing 100% revenue. Ideally, we would like to appeal to service providers who have not registered with the Ministry of Tourism to do so and take advantage of the marketing opportunities that are available for placing more spotlight on their brands.
The clarification program is open to all hospitality service providers registered with the Ministry of Tourism, including accommodation providers, car rentals, restaurants and bars, day tours, nightclubs, shopping, taxi association, yachting, and ocean activities. Well, that wraps up the morning updates coming to you from NTN for this 24-hour news cycle. I would like to thank you so much for sitting in and keeping abreast as to what's coming from the government of St. Lucia. And speaking of which, we have a sitting of the House of Assembly. We're downtown Castries at the Parliament building live right now. We are on standby for that sitting today. We have papers to be laid by the Honorable Prime Minister and Minister for Finance, Economic Growth, Job Creation, External Affairs and the Public Service. Also the Honorable Minister for Economic Development, Housing, Urban Renewal, Transport and Civil Aviation. The Honorable Minister for Tourism, Information, Broadcasting, Culture and the Creative Industries will also lay a paper today, and we also have reports from committee to be presented by the Honorable Minister for Infrastructure, Ports, Energy and Labour. The motions to be forwarded in the Honorable House by the Prime Minister, and just to go over it for you, be it resolved that Parliament by affirmative resolution approves the draft value-added tax order which amends Schedule 3 of the Act to exempt imports by an elected parliamentarian for the benefit of children, the vulnerable and needy persons in the constituency of the elected parliamentarian, of toys, food supplies, care packages, including items for personal use such as food, personal hygiene products, and other personal protective supplies. Gift items, including personal presents to be given as part of the Christmas holiday season. Christmas decorations, including Christmas lights, ornaments, and accessories used for decorative purposes during the Christmas holiday season. The second motion to be forwarded, be it resolved that Parliament authorizes the Minister of Finance to borrow from commercial banks sums not exceeding $85 million as follows. The Royal Bank of Trinidad and Tobago, EC of $4,400,000. The Royal Bank of Canada, EC $5,600,000. The First Caribbean International Bank, EC $8 million. The Republic Bank, EC Limited, $12 million EC dollars. The First National Bank of St. Lucia Limited, $5 million EC dollars, and Bank of St. Lucia, $50 million EC dollars. There are two bills to come forward again, one in debate, that is the Credit Reporting Bill and the Economic Substance Amendment Bill, and this will be read for the first time in the Honorable House. My name is Jessie Leonce. I now take you back to studio as we await the commencement of today's proceedings in the Honorable House. Goodbye.